All right, welcome back to Badge of the Bone podcast. I'm Denny,
I'm Al.
and we got another episode. Are you ready, Al?
Let's get on it.
Hey, Al.
Hey, Denny.
We're back again.
We are. Episode 2, Season 4.
Moving along.
Yeah. We got something a little different tonight.
I think so.
Yeah? So you put this to... It's somebody we both know. But,
Yes.
But you put this together. So what are we doing tonight?
So we have a friend, again, a mutual friend of ours, former police officer with a jurisdiction that I did some time with and was neighboring to, where I spent most of my career. And I'm trying to remember exactly where we first met because it's been a while. But we now work at a non-police agency together, and we've been talking about the podcast, and she listens and has suggested a few things here and there. But we haven't had a woman police officer, either active or former, badge wearing, gun toting police officer. Here we are in the season 4, and that's just a dynamic that I think we need to dive into.
Yeah. I mean, there are definitely some unique things that come with that.
Yeah.
So, and
it's a different stress. I mean, I don't know. I mean, we can't speak to that, obviously. So we have someone here that can.
yeah, I'm trying to remain serious. So many things to say there.
But we have Trish with us this evening, and she's actually here on location, which is great. So always fun. I'm wondering how much edit we're going to have to do in this. But Trish, welcome to Badge of the Bone podcast.
Thank you for having me, and appreciate that. So I'll kind of behave.
Yeah, I don't buy that.
Well, no,
Okay.
that's not happening.
I don't buy that one bit.
It sounded nice for disclaimer, but okay, sure.
Yeah, we're marked explicit, so it'll be okay. But it's good to have you here. We appreciate that you listen.
Of course, why wouldn't I? I mean, it's good topics. It's good conversations. It's always something to get the mind going, even if you don't agree with it.
Sure.
Yeah.
But a lot that we talk about is the stress, the mental wellness of law enforcement. Of course, we talk about the leadership stuff like that. But as I said before, we have not had a woman officer, someone that was a woman that served in a law enforcement capacity, sworn capacity. You have, and with a pretty busy agency,
and being a mom.
Yeah, that's.
So how does that play into the dynamics of the stress of the job?
From one's perspective, we are always, for example, I'll say like I have a headache, my body hurts. A woman's perspective, we are usually just dismissed because of that. It's usually why women usually have such a high mortality rates when giving birth to kids, because like, oh, you're not really in pain, you're just here. So, and then also women, we are emotional thinkers. We'll think about, as you know from all our years, we all do the OODA loop, but we'll do that, but in warp speed and constantly going. Because while we're on the call and we're done with the call, we're thinking about, okay, hey, did I put something in the crock pot fit in every time I got to get home? We got baseball, football, track, whatever we got to do.
Sure.
And still doing all of that there. And it just, it throws into a lot. And women, we can't come off as the damsel in distress.
Right.
Because then it's like, well, this job isn't for you then.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But then if you ignore it, then you're like, oh, you're manly. It's like, okay, fuck you want. Pick a struggle.
So either way, you're
screwed.
Right.
Either absolutely. Damn if you did, damn if you don't. Absolutely.
Yeah, I can see that. I feel there is, I don't feel that, I know there is also, just being real, there's a stigma with women in policing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I think over the years, I think we've come a long way since like 1950, 1960, or
I don't even think you have to go back that far. I
no,
can
you,
think of examples within my own career from
Early 2000s, I'd say, because when I
oh
went
yeah.
to
no,
my
absolutely.
relief, yeah,
I think we've made strides since then. I
yeah,
think it has progressed, but it's still there and pretty present.
oh yeah,
Because it's still a predominantly male dominated
mhm,
profession. And as a female officer, you fight that stigma of should you be here? Is this, do you belong in this profession? Women can't do the profession like men, which is not true. I mean, that's more individual basis. I have found there's just as many men that can't do the job as
right. But
that's
just as
individual.
women, just in general, it's just thought of that as women always usually quote unquote always the weaker sex,
Right. Right.
so always that.
So and I feel like too, you fight the again because it's male dominated, and again, just being real, uh, a male police officer does not want to be outdone by a female police officer.
Absolutely not. Absolutely, they will
So
absolutely not. They will raise holy hell. It will no,
so
can't do
you
it.
have this, you already have some competition in police because you got alpha males, you got alpha personalities in there, and then you put in that dynamic of a woman officer, and you know a male officer is going to work extra hard to make sure they're not outdone, and usually that's in the form of trying to kind of make you feel less of an officer.
And then as okay, when I went to my relief, when I was the first female for my relief in a long time, and I can't tell you how many times I got disregarded as the back. I'm like 10:10 radio, I'm already here. 10:23.
Oh
Or
wow.
just call this came
Mm.
10:23, I'm already here.
Wow.
So you've got to get to the call twice as fast, twice as hard. That report better be twice as better done before anything else. And it took a while for my relief to like, all right, she's cool. But then they had another female that would come in there and she did a whole damsel in distress thing.
Mm.
Like
Okay.
off like she would do a traffic stop and all of a sudden they'd be like, first of all, they never had her riding solo. It was always with a partner. Okay, cool, not a problem. Even though her beat was close to mine off of the good old Pike.
The Pike.
Mm.
So can't say because of that, because my beat when I was in the city
Right.
was 215.
Okay.
So Gerald Delane, Bells, and Jeff Davis to the county line, the left side of the street from Broad Rock, all of that back there, Iron till turning to Iron Bridge. So cool.
So
No
for
problem.
anybody that's listening, those are some pretty sporting areas.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she got this officer was always particularly coddled, always had another officer with her. And I asked
Mm.
the sergeant, like, hey, why don't you ever put her with me? I was like, I'm a female. Why don't she go with me?
Right.
So I was like, we don't want her to cry. I'm like, then she shouldn't be here.
Don't want her to cry.
And there was that particular sergeant, he and I see him, gave him love, but there was one particular time she did a traffic stop. And if you didn't know better, you'd swear it was a Mayday because it was her car with her partner, cool two-man unit. Then it was the wagon, it was another car. And then I heard that time the sergeant saying, okay, well, the drugs were in this pocket. So of course, me being, that bitch, I'm like, hey, Sarge, you got a little milk left on your mouth. And he told me to beat him back at the precinct. I'm like, you're gonna do paperwork? I'll do my paperwork if you want to, but I've never gotten that treatment. Well,
Mm.
Trish, you don't need it. Then if I don't need it, then neither should she.
Well, this is true.
Mhm.
So that's my thing. If you want me to be there, woman or not, you have to trust me to take your back because I am not shouting my badge and going home and explaining to your wife, your kids, your partner, your dog, whoever, well, because I wasn't that strong of an officer, this is why I'm here.
Mm.
I'm sorry for your loss. Not today. Not doing that shit. Not doing it. Nope.
Damn.
And that kind of officer should be frustrating to all of us.
Well, yeah.
But
I mean,
it's got to be doubly frustrating if you're another female officer on the same relief.
we were already fighting that uphill battle, and having that, type of officer representing your demographic makes it
There were calls
even.
like fight in progress, and it was on her beat, and she'd marked 1023, and here it is. I'm coming from the Pike, and she's off of oh goodness, like behind like the Goodwill like Giant Road off Midlothian in the city, like
Okay.
type deal.
Yep.
And she says, okay, 1023. And then you hear the more call information, like, okay, well, more call information says they're still fighting. Officer, where you at? And as I drive past her, she's slumped down in the seat. Like, ma'am, but you knocked the fuck. Oh, you're not out because you didn't even get out the car yet. Cool. Gotcha. I will go handle your problem. Stay here. I got this.
Mm.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, jeez. Now, did you,
Just say it, bitch. Just say it.
yeah, no, I'm just, did the stigma, the things we talk about, having that stigma, and you feel like you have to do double the effort to compete or to be thought of, as your male counterpart, does that add a level of stress, a higher level of stress to you? Does that
Yes.
wear on you?
Yes.
Okay.
Because then when you get picked for positions, you wonder, did I get here because I'm good? Or is it because you want to have a female here or anything else?
Okay.
So it added, like when I was when I did arsons, I was the first female arson investigator for the city, 200 plus years.
Right.
And I was at that time I was in before that I was in youth and family crime. So kitty porn, elder abuse, shaken baby, did all that stuff there. So I'm going to try something different. And I did everything. I'm wondering, am I getting the spot because they want a female here, or because a black female? What do you? So it makes you doubt yourself. So you have all this stuff that's always sitting in the back of your head in your mind. Like, am I here because you want this, or is it because I fit this?
Well, that's interesting because you and you're going to have the talk, because people that don't want to acknowledge your skill set are going to say that you got this position because you're this. Like, say you're either it's because you're female, or it's because you're black, or it's because you're black female. That's why you're here in this spot, and they're going to say that. And you're fighting that battle of, I earned this position, but people are going to say, no, that's what you got it. So I can see where that's a heavy stress.
And then even being a mom, I would have to go breastfeed, but I would have to go, pump in a supply closet.
Well, as long as you're not doing that while you're supposed to be protecting the former president, then
Right.
that's it should be good to go.
I mean, they did not have a room for her to do so. I mean, was she behind the thing? I mean, and not for nothing. But hold on though, but that's another level of pain right there. When your breasts getting gored and you've got a vest on, holy shit!
I see, I didn't think about that.
You're not sweating. You're sweating milk. Could you imagine sweating milk? What in the entire fresh hell?
I don't want to imagine that. That's
Exactly.
terrible.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you've already got a bra because your wives will tell you, when we get home, when this bra comes off, we're not coming back out. We're done for the day.
That's very true.
We
That
are
is
done.
absolutely true.
We are twisting over our head. We're doing the bra scratch. You've got the lines like we've been fighting all day. And then,
I mean, that's probably similar to when I get the vest off of a day of work. Maybe not the exact same, but similar.
And then add into carrying some cantaloupes on top of that.
Okay, yeah, I wouldn't want to put that son
Right.
back on.
But then you're breastfeeding. Then when you got the line and the this and the that, the drippings and the
Wow.
Yeah.
It's been a long time since that's gone on in our house, and
yeah. So, but I get it.
If I never see a breast pump again in my life,
I'm glad. My kid is 12. My kid just asked me to get some lobster and grill that for him this weekend. So that's where I'm at in my house. I'm grilling lobster and bullshit. So
nice.
Some bullshit. Fuck y'all.
So the party is at Trish's house.
Right. There we go.
There's no food left, but sure.
All right. Well.
So what you just started talking about kind of set something off in my head, because we have a lot of discussions, and I'm going to go here. We have a lot of discussions in the media these days about DEI, right? The diversity, equity, inclusion, right? Okay. And yes.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, I see the look already. And people, people outside the profession, oh, that's a wonderful thing, give people a chance, equal opportunity. But we should be anyway. We're not always, but we should be a profession that is a pure meritocracy, right? You either can or you cannot, and that's it. Full stop.
Okay.
Right. But of course, we know that's not always true. And so what I thought I was hearing from you was the opposite of what I hear when I turn on most media and DEI is being discussed.
I was raised in Brooklyn with Jamaican parents. So my parents came here. They had to get the whole naturalization certificate and everything. So they came here legalist and started that route there. Mom's retired already, rest her soul. My dad was an accountant, rest his soul. So both of my parents were educated.
Mhm.
So we understand the value of education.
Okay.
My mom and my dad, and even my stepfather's from Barbados, raised us in such a way that you will do what everyone else does and then some.
Mm-hmm.
There wasn't any of the hanging out on the corners type deal. Like I'd see some of my, and every so often I'd see some of my, as I thought they were my friends back then. And I'm going to school, I'm going to this practice or that practice. Oh, why are you doing that? Why are you just trying to get you to do this and that and the other? Okay, cool. And my mom and I are cool. So I talked to my, hey mom. And my mom looking like, why are you just trying not to get robbed by you? Okay, makes sense.
Okay.
So I grew up of such the opposite of what you thought. Like most people here, okay, you grew up in Brooklyn, you grew up in a project.
Mm-hmm.
The only project I knew was what I brought home from school.
Mm.
I grew up in a brick house. Hey, garage across the street from a park. I walked to my elementary school. Across the street from me, they played cricket in the park on Sundays. I was on track team. My sister was in, honor society. I was in honor society, and still, it was we're not gonna worry about that because I get that if you're not exposed to it, being as you have certain things which if you try to go against the grain of your community,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't work. Like they said, okay, well, this one, grew up in the project, so black or white. Well, why do you want to be different? That doesn't go well for you. And I was always just, no, this is what you're going to do. It's going to be, that's it. Like for me, most people don't realize, for example, I went to military school. I graduated from the same military school that our former president graduated from, which is a whole other big team as it is. But also, most folks don't know that John Gotti's son went there. Francis Ford Coppola went there.
Hmm.
Um, so to be there, you didn't know who was who because everyone looked the same.
Okay. Yep.
And it's not so much to assimilate and not so much to, to go along to get along. But if you're not going to be stupid, then why are you making all that noise anyway? But I get the DEI because again, if you're not exposed to it, like for example, having, a black Navy SEAL, if you didn't grow up in an environment where there are pools
Right.
Mm-hmm.
and
Sure.
you didn't grow up in an environment where you could know you could do this much stuff underwater, then okay, I get getting someone introducing them to it. But not introducing them to it where they realize that they can't pass any of the standards that you set forth. If they want to be in their program, let them work, let them learn. If they need to stay back another 6 months to get it, to go ahead and ring that bell out, whatever they need to do, cool. But just don't, oh, you're here, we're just going to go ahead and push you forward for it. That help?
No, that.
I mean, just.
Yeah, I mean, I think we agree because in a lot of ways, I think it could be demeaning to somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Very easily demeaning. Like, well, we're going to push you ahead because you can't do it. Well, who the hell are you to say I can't do it?
Right. What's the
And
character on South Park? Token.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, no, I don't think a lot of people think about that today. I think people put their compassion. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. Their compassion ahead of their reason.
Okay. Yeah, makes sense.
No, I mean that makes sense.
And just doing more harm than good.
But to a certain extent, because then you're wondering, okay, if I see this person up here,
Right.
then that lets me know I can do that.
Right.
Sure.
Exactly.
That
Yeah.
like
Sure.
when everyone raised hell over the Little Mermaid, she's brown, she's brown. Okay, then that lets other little brown skin boys and girls know, hey, you can do this.
Mhm.
You can take swim lessons. You can do this shit. It's okay.
So basically, I mean, when it comes to like DEI. And again, that's become such a polarized kind of phrase nowadays. I think from what I'm gathering from our conversation is there's a place, but there's a fine line between having that diversity and then just forcing it by just throwing people in that can't do it or are not a fit and focusing on the one aspect of it. Does that make
I think it's two very different things from, hey, we're going to have a brown Little Mermaid. Okay. So
right?
what?
Right.
I mean, really, like what your example was, oh, well, we can show this to little brown girls and they can go, I too can swim and have this hero. Okay, that's fine. That's not DEI to me.
No, I agree.
Hold on a minute though. But you got to remember though, we're all close to the same age. How many cartoons did you see with little brown skin folks? Besides the folks that lived in the junkyard.
Oh yeah.
On Fat Albert. So not only
movity bop.
Yeah,
right,
very true. Very true.
Brown skin folks. So when we speaking livers in the junkyard, you had what's Fat Albert and what's the other one?
Hey.
That was it.
No, Rickety Rocket.
Well,
it was a horrible looking spaceship with the biggest fucking lips possible, and the astronauts had on something that was pieced together. I'm fine.
I don't know.
Rickety Rocket.
They must not have run that down here.
Rickety Rocket blast off. Watch. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Okay. No, I take your word for it.
I mean, there was the Harlem Globetrotters.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's a picture of Rickety Rocket.
I've never seen that in my life.
You've never seen that.
I've never seen that.
Maybe up in New York we had that, but
I've never seen Rickety Rocket.
You've never seen Rickety Rocket?
No.
It's cool. It's cool. But yes. But again, it's to show folks, hey, you can go into space.
Right.
Because other than that, again, kids in junkyards, kids in a ragged ass, put together, riveted looking rocket ship.
Okay, but let me go back to the DEI, and so let's take the Secret Service, because obviously that's a big thing right now, and they're fussing and harping on that they had all these women detail folks, and it's the DEI that they're making the, I want to say, assumption that these protectors or these detail were put in those positions strictly because they were female to serve that DEI.
Are there no other females that are 6'12" or however tall he is? Are there no other females that can do that? So every female you have is 5'4"?
Well, right. Well, and that's kind of what I'm getting at. That I think there is a fine line in there. You got to be diverse. But I also think there are times where you have to be selective on other things. Like security. You shouldn't have anybody I shouldn't be on a detail for Trump. He's like twice my size. I mean, what am I going to do? How am I going to drag that guy out if he's...
Let's be clear. He's more than twice your size.
You know what? You know what? Don't make me smack you right here off camera.
No, I think look, okay, so if there were women on the detail, I think everybody focused in on that one piece of video of that poor gal who didn't know if she was coming or going.
What are we doing? What are we going? What?
Right. Yeah, she had like the guns in, the guns out. I'm going to do the Charlie's Angels pose.
However, though, with
stare at my feet.
Doing that, though, she did not break her other hand. She did not take her offhand and fiddle fuck with her holster.
Sure.
She did not divert her eyes. So her training did kick in
a little bit.
But however, though,
mildly
her be in that spot.
Yeah.
As an outer perimeter, inner perimeter, and again, I want to say for a detail like that or anything else, hey, we don't have any from our agency. Let's go ahead and borrow. And apparently, that unit was supplemented with other folks, with DHS, I think it is, and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean,
other folks that were non-Secret Service.
Correct.
I think when you talk about DEI, you can have that kind of DEI or that diversity and still meet your mission standards. I think you can you can do both as long as you don't focus on just the DEI aspect for it, or you don't just focus on, we want 6'5", 280-pound
But then not focusing on that,
football players.
do you ignore it? Like, okay, tell you a story here. So when I started college, I went to a Division I school in downtown Pittsburgh. It's given a partial track scholarship. So your girl was pretty fast. Cool. School started August, and by October, I had "nigga girl home" written on my dorm door.
Oh wow.
What?
I was 17 at the time.
Oh jeez.
So I didn't gain the freshman 15. I lost the freshman 15. So here I am on a track scholarship for a D1 school that was really trying to build their track program.
Wow.
So what do you do? It's like I was there because of my grades and my times I had in the 2 and the 400 and cross country and everything else. But to have that written on my door, so it's like, okay, do you ignore it? And that's what the school chose to ignore it.
Really?
The school chose to ignore it. I stayed one semester.
Wow.
Walked away from a scholarship one semester. So you can't really ignore it, because then there are those that are going to get comfortable of, okay, well, this is a man's only space. We're not doing anything special for you because you're a woman. And my field training officer was a guy, you know him, I'm not going to say his name, who always wore his chlorophyll shoes, little shiny shoes, real cool, gravelly voice.
Which in that department, nobody wore those shoes.
No.
But there's a couple that stay with the shiny shoes. And I was his first female that he had field trained. And he's in there, he's fiddling with the radio and the air and this and that. You okay? I'm like, look, all I need is a clean place to drop trowel. Either find me a precinct or a RASA unit. That is all I need. And he looked at me, he's like, we're going to be fine. I'm like, yeah, we're going to be good. We got this. But given I wonder what his perception was of just having, okay, you're getting a woman, getting a black woman.
Right. Right.
What? You're going to be, okay, sweetie, you stay in the car.
Right.
I got this here. When the bad guy comes out, you just call on the radio and go, pew, pew. What do you do? So look at also, too, what everyone is being told. Okay, if there are women coming, or if this is what a women, we don't do this. Let us have equal standards. Let's not have to worry about, okay, that this room is all pink. We don't all like fucking pink. But again, that's why you got the pink tax on razors, because, and you tax me also on fucking tampons, really? So you're going to charge me for something I'm pushing up there? If anything, you should be paying me for doing that. But whatever, I digress. Anywho. But that's typically what it's thought of when things are marketed towards women. They're in pink.
Right.
Toolboxes. Yeah. Everything's pink. Razors. Everything, headwear, chairs, pink.
Yeah.
Because that's what you all as men have been taught, that women, we all like pink for everything.
Yeah, well, true.
Right.
I mean, Al likes pink for a lot of stuff. I mean,
yeah.
Don't judge me.
The same.
I mean, he has a lot of pink stuff.
And 1-1.
I could say something, but I really won't. I could say something about pink, but I'm really not going to.
But I do think it's just it's an interesting dynamic with how you tackle DEI.
Yeah.
How you do it properly.
You can't ignore it. You have to do it properly. You can't ignore it. You can't ignore it. You can't shove down everyone's throats. It's like having the highway and you see the orange cones. You saw the orange cones, but you're not going to wait till the last moment to get in there. So start preparing yourself about merging in. What are you going to do to get in here?
No, that makes sense. Makes sense.
It's kind of, you want to make sure the door is open and the space is welcoming.
Right.
But at the same time, you don't want to bring people in simply to check a box.
Right.
No, that does a disservice to everybody involved.
And, somebody like yourself who not only meets but exceeds expectations, that's kind of a slap in the face to you if they just bring them in to check a box.
But then at some point on my end too, you get used to that because you don't want to be the rabble rouser. because you don't think because this is what you did. Well, not everyone can do that. Okay, so then you end up dumbing down your standards.
Well, you shouldn't dumb down your standards.
As we know, acceptance.
Yeah.
Do you want to have everyone's cars facing the opposite way, or do you want to be the
Right.
one that's parked under the bridge somewhere, or if you need a back and you can't get one because
Mm.
they think they're better than everyone else, or they're not social because so then what?
Mm. Yeah.
I can't argue against that. I mean,
No,
it makes complete sense.
No, it does. It's just again, it has to be done with thought.
It's a balance.
It is a balance. It has to be done. It has to be done with thought.
But then, as a thought, if in a male-dominated profession, how are men going to tell me what works as a woman?
Well, they can't.
Because, like for example, it took my former department years to get vests that had cut out for our boobs.
Right.
And as we know, when you go shopping with your wives and whatnot, all the different sizes of, okay, we're doing a nice, we're doing a bralette, we're doing a demi, we're doing a sports bra. So how is that vest going to work for me?
Well, that's where the thought comes in. You can't have a panel that's working on recruitment that's made up of 5 male police officers that have been in a profession for
But
15,
then to
20 years.
get a female in there, that's the thing. So what you have to change to get a female in there.
Right. Well, you do. You just, but
that's the thing. But again, if you change, are you losing your immediate standards because you're changing? Because you're like, hey, we need to expand our recruitment because this group, this demographic, is not normally seen by us at all or in a positive light.
I think that's where the balance comes in. So, for example, if you take the recruitment issue, okay, I can say, well, I want more Hispanic females. So, from a recruitment standpoint, I'm going to go to where I'm going to find a large number of Hispanic females. But then once the hiring process starts, and then once they're hired and the training process starts, the standard is the standard.
right.
So
right. That's right.
I'm going to go look for them.
Sure.
I'm going to encourage them to apply.
Yep.
But the standard for hiring, the standard for training, and the standard for keeping your job is the exact same.
But the standard is because of what you want there. It's a standard because you're trying to check a box, or do you actually give a fuck? What is it?
No, I'm speaking for myself.
So,
I give a fuck.
But that's the thing. But we need to get it out of use here and look at what everyone else is. Are we here because we want to check a box, or is federal funding or state funding going to be withheld because we don't have?
Well, that goes back into some of the leadership things that we have discussed over the course of the last 3 seasons.
Yeah.
With people that are more interested in maintaining that placard that says chief or sheriff on the door than anything else.
Yeah.
And so, yes, that's where it may become a problem. So 100%.
So again, you got to look at your standards. Are we going to adjust our recruitment and training and our standards because of a box, because we want money, or because we're trying to get more for the area that we service, that we community, or if it's an area that we don't service community? Well, what if we have a need for this? Then what?
Well, that's where your standards need to be genuine. There's nothing wrong with adjusting standards. There's nothing wrong with going, okay, look, we have had this standard for 20 years, and what of these really makes sense? Is there really things in here that are not realistic? And I think you can make some adjustments. Now, whether that makes it easier or even more difficult, it could go either way. But I have no issue with it. It's when you just do at the stroke of a pen, where we're going to just reduce all these things. We're going to just,
or worse, you just say,
we can't get.
Oh, they're not meeting the standard, and we're going to look the other way and sign them off and blah, 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 blah.
Right. Now, I have no issue with reviewing the standard and go, you know what, this standard right here is definitely one that gets a lot of people. And let's spend some time to really evaluate how important is this really. If you had some just off the wall, how important is this? Is this something that we can adjust that you're going to get on the job or that you're going to get in your career? I think you can make those adjustments. But like you said, it's when, well, nobody's meeting the standard, so let's just drop it. Let's things like, your felony drug use and stuff like that. Are you dropping that because you truly think, what's the idea behind it? Is it truly genuine that you think that that's not something that's, realistic, or you think that you're losing, fantastic candidates because of that, or are you dropping it just because you can't get candidates? That's
Right.
where I have
So
a
that's
problem.
nothing to it. Then also look at this, your perception of what you thought. Like, for example, if you see a male nurse,
Mm-hmm.
that male nurse will catch so much slack because, again, nursing is thought of as a woman's profession. So think of the amount of slack that male nurse will get. So it's not just law enforcement, the same thing as well. Like, this guy, why is he doing this woman's job of nurse? First of all, nurses are some tough ass women, and men and women. My mom's an RN, and I've known a lot of male nurses. So first of all, the fact that you've got to get someone, roll them over, you've got IVs to put, you've got catheters to put, and everything else. You've got someone flailing at you. You've got someone's pulse ox. So, but look at it, then do you think, okay, this is just and that thing? But look at the amount of strength that is needed for nursing. But they don't think about that needed for law enforcement. Nurses, men and women, are fighting someone that is coming down from who knows whatever else.
Yeah.
But then now all of a sudden now I'm not good enough to wrestle the fucking crack whore that's on the street. Again, pick a struggle.
True. Okay. Yeah.
So let's go here. Give you a magic wand.
Okay.
And we talk a lot on this show about problems, and I like to think we sometimes propose solutions. How would you fix these issues? If you were queen for the day, how would you fix them?
Alakazam, Alakazar.
Wave your magic wand. Make Alan disappear too while you're at it.
I love peanut butter sandwiches.
I heard that.
I would like to open everyone's mind and let everyone see what some of the opposite gender and sex sees for the day. And let me know how you would handle that. How you would handle going and buying a pair of jeans, but you don't got these little bitty bitch ass pockets. This is why we give you our stuff to hold. Men's pants typically have bigger pockets.
Bigger pockets, Al. Y'all carry them big purses. You fit all kinds of shit in there.
But so then again, you're limiting me just to carrying what? I'm only worth carrying what? A lipstick? I don't have anything else that I want to carry?
Or your plain clothes, because this came up when I was in training, in doing training academy stuff, and I was at a plainclothes agency. Most of the time we were plainclothes. So women's business attire has no belt loops.
Exactly. That's why I had to go to shoulder holster. There's no belt loops.
And we didn't authorize that.
Right.
Your agency did, mine didn't. And so, this female recruit was like, well, how should I carry this? And I said, well, belt this. And she go,
No.
I don't have a belt. I said, what do you
Paddle
mean?
holster.
And it never dawned, here
Right.
I am, middle-aged man. It had never dawned on me.
Right.
I'm like, no shit.
Majority of
You
women's
don't
suits
have
do not.
belt loops.
We don't have belt loops. We
No
don't have
belt loops on your drawers.
No, exactly. We don't have belt loops. We don't have inner pockets in our suit jackets. So if
That's
your
not very
department
convenient.
doesn't authorize,
That's not very convenient at all.
it's not.
I don't know what I'd do without the pockets.
And then if you look at just even buying women's shorts and men's shorts, you all have bigger pockets.
Al, do you find the pockets on the women's shorts less accommodating when you wear them?
The ones I have are so short that they don't have pockets.
Hoochie daddy shorts, nice. Okay. I mean, you got to get them bills paid somehow.
He looks fabulous in them.
It is. But that's what I would do, is have everyone see for the opposite sex and race, and let yourself be a little uncomfortable.
Right.
To like, ooh, I didn't think about that. I think so.
See, the wheels are turning for us right now.
Yeah.
You can see the smoke.
Oh, that's what that smells. Okay, cool.
I'm just a whole belt. I don't think I've ever gone without a belt. Or somewhere like sweatpants.
Right? Exactly.
What do you do without a belt?
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's horrible.
We don't.
What kind of world would I be living in with no belt?
Right. In a world where there are no belts.
Holy hell.
But again, it's either no belt or you have the grandma elastic in the back. And again, women's suit pants, no pockets.
No pockets would be a pain in the
So
ass.
no pockets, no belt loops. But we're supposed to be
Right.
demure, very mindful, very demure, not too brazen.
See, she couldn't say that with a straight face.
Oh shit, that wasn't happening. But just think of it, and then imagine it from a male end. You will always expect to be these rough and tough guys. Like, heaven help you if you fall and you break an ankle or a rib, there might be a tear or two shed. That's gonna be shut up, men don't cry. Men don't cry at happiness. Men don't cry at sadness. Do y'all fucking cry anytime? We just no.
I disagree with that.
But overall,
no.
Right. But again, overall,
No, I mean,
exactly. But you two really don't give a rat's ass, so why bother?
If you're watching Band of Brothers, and
But again, it's a movie. It's a manly movie.
Point.
Well, it was World War II though, so we gotta give them a break.
You know what? I'll fight you one day.
I cry at the end of Saving Private Ryan every single time.
Oh man,
But
that one gets
But
me.
then, do you all cry in, let's say,
Sound of Music? No.
Mulan? Or
I haven't even seen Mulan.
No.
Not crying in that.
So you weren't even watching Disney movies because who are Disney movies marketed for? Women and kids. Heaven help a dad.
I watched Toy Story.
You watch what?
Toy Story. That's Disney. Disney Pixar. I watched.
That's because probably
Buzz Lightyear.
Exactly. Tim Allen or whatever.
There's a snake in my boots. Woody.
Right.
Infinity and Beyond.
And Tom Hanks, yes. But overall, but you looked at that, but you didn't get into the whole thing of feeling bad for Barbie and Ken and Baby when they had him with the little legs and whatnot.
No.
Exactly.
No.
Or if anything, look at it. What's the one? Beauty and the Beast. So imagine here it is. You are a peasant, and you've been forced to work in this castle. And now, just because you're there,
the candlesticks are singing to you.
No.
So
Hold on, no. Just because you're there now,
I'm eating mushrooms or something.
you are getting turned into a plate, a fork, and a candelabra. You're just there because remember, it didn't start out like that. Remember, the curse.
Would you want to be the plate or the fork, Al? What do you think?
Be our guest, put our service to the test.
I think I'd have to go with the fork because I could still be dangerous and hurt somebody.
Try the gray stuff; it's delicious.
You've really thought about that. I'm just kind of staring at you like.
What about the clock? Oh, no. See, I'd be Lumiere. I could burn everybody up.
You could.
The candlelight. Was that the candlelight?
Yes, it was.
Okay.
We've taken a dark turn on a Disney movie.
Dun, dun, dun.
Wow.
But yeah, I mean, I guess we don't really cry at that stuff.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that.
No.
So okay.
Okay, that's a thought. See, that's what I do with my wand.
Hey, let's take a 5-minute break. And we are back. Need a little stretch break.
It was getting deep.
It was. This is, and as we just, of course, we always still have great content off the recording because we're still talking about it. But like we said, this is one of those topics that there's just no quick or easy fix. There's no quick solution. It's a complexity. I think that's just a complexity with just people dealing with
I believe the word would be conundrum.
a conundrum.
Conundrum. There you go.
Yeah, good.
But now I will ask, because we have gone over this conundrum, and I kind of alluded at the very beginning that we've come a long way. But Trish, do you think there has been progress? Do you think the state for women in policing is gotten better, or is working to a better place?
It's working towards a better. It is between looking at locally from a state standpoint. If you see federal, it is working because women and men, our minds think differently, which
Sure.
is
Sure.
we overthink things. Sometimes you underthink. Sometimes we kind of balance each other out. So that's why we do need that balance. So that definitely helps. So it has gotten there. So I'm like, because again, like having me here, you will realize from a different perspective, like, hey, what about this?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it does truly does help. It really does.
Okay. I mean, I think it's gotten better. I think maybe some of the stigma has gotten a little better over time. I mean, there's obviously, like anything else, there's a lot of work to do. But I do think the profession's getting a little bit better in general for cops not really caring who shows up for work, just that
Mm.
whoever shows up for work is willing to work.
The numbers now, actually, you're happy if any damn body shows up. When you got,
Well, that's true. That's
so
true.
now the numbers are if you're willing to take the job and do it.
Right.
Not actually show up, but actually do it.
I just see like the rank and file. Nobody's really concerned about any demographic that's arriving. They just it's a badge and a uniform that's showing up. Nobody gives a shit as long as you're showing up to do the job.
But then as you get further up into promotions now, that's when folks want to consider like, well,
right.
Yeah, that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and especially your old workplace. Yeah. Which boxes do they check before we can promote them to captain?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that can kind of be anywhere.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it happened in the state system.
I mean, you have that, and then you have on top of that who's friends with who. I mean,
that happens more.
Yeah, sometimes it's not even a demographic thing; it's who's friends with who.
Right.
Well, we're going to promote this guy because we know this fella. He's our buddy, and we go to the golf course.
And you look at who knows who, but then also who gives their perception because you want their posters out with the recruitment poster or hey, this is what I'm going to have for the media. This is what I'm going to have out there. So yeah, we're good. I want to check these boxes, but haha, I got this too.
Yeah. Jeez. All right.
I feel like I've had an education tonight, and it's actually been a good thing.
I agree. I think I'm still stuck on the conundrum though of the solution. Where's the solution? I'm that solution. I'm that. I want to come circle around, and at the end, I want to make that 360 and arrive at the solution, and we're just not there.
Nope. Big old bag of nopes. Nope.
Other than little steps here and there to try to make it better.
Walk the path gently. Don't force it. That's going to be the best way for overall to get there.
Okay. Now that makes absolutely sense. I think that's where the error comes in is when you force it.
But folks are going to force it because then we're in a time crunch. We've got times changing. We've got, we don't have the time to really go along as we'd like to. We don't have time.
But then you look at like our kids, right? And your son and my son are about the same age. They don't think about this shit.
No, mine does.
Really?
Because I've had to teach him. I've had to teach my son, you cannot be outside playing with a Nerf gun because people will call the police on you.
Oh, okay.
I've had to teach my kid that just because, you're a little brown-skinned little boy, this is what's going to be thought of you before you even open your mouth.
Okay.
Like even now, my kid plays water polo.
Right.
And he's had a couple of, well, why do you do that? Because again, that's not what's typical for us.
Right.
We're usually taught, okay, go ahead and like, who was it that said that dribble the basketball and whatnot? Somebody, ESPN, somebody said that one of the, dang it, I can't remember. Somebody's going to call and remember. But usually we're taught to do, black folks ought to do football, basketball.
Right, yeah.
So to have my kid in the water.
Doing water polo.
And he started on swim team. He's damn fast at swim team.
All right.
To have him dusting folks. Dude would get out from doing 100-meter IM laughing. I'm like, sir, what?
No, I guess what I if I'm going to rephrase that, I would say I don't think that they have the biases or the baggage.
Right.
That generation does not. You mean?
They don't, but this generation has seen a whole lot. Remember, this generation and the one right before this, they've seen the 9/11 where everyone was against every single Muslim ever. Didn't care where you were from. If you were Muslim, you were already cast out. Then you get to when you've got the Asian hate, in the Virginia Tech shooting. Everyone, I will not say that murderer's name, I will damned. But it was looking at for Asians, okay, this is what you do there. Then you get to everyone else of looking at, okay, we'll jump here now because we've had what my kids seen what the whole George Floyd thing, see that play out from black male doing this, officers doing this, white officers doing this, but the black man's doing this, to everything to Sandra Bland, okay, traffic stop. And again, but then looking at then, you teach your kids, my kid, just comply. But what happens? You just comply, and then what happens? Like we had the young man, that had the concealed weapon, had a permit for it and everything. He was a cafeteria worker.
Right.
Flandro, his name Castillo, I think it was his name.
Another one you're talking about.
Right. Again, do you have anything that's going to stick me, jab me, poke me, any bazookas, rocket launchers? I have a concealed weapon. It's right here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's right here. You see me going, because again, you just asked me, do I have anything that's going to stick me? And I'm still sitting in a car.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to do this, and I get lit up. Again, I'm complying. I'm doing what you asked me to do.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Or for anything, I'm there minding my own business, but because I'm a little more loud and a little more boisterous, my kid's going to get the police call on him. So that's what I've got to look at. And imagine how I get that from someone that grew up in Brooklyn, where you see all the little, I didn't do all the subway graffiti shit. I did not. I grew up in a house. We had a backyard, had a front yard, had a park across the street, all that type of good stuff. Went to military school. My sister was in an honors program. I went to college. My sister went to college. My mom, all my family were college educated. But still, because of the perception. So unfortunately for me, I've had to have those talks with my kid. Don't like them. But my kid has to have that swivel. He's got to be able to say and articulate. Which, to have a 12-year-old do that sucks.
Yeah, no, that does.
How does he take it? How does he react?
A lot of it, he's very angry that his friends can do stuff and he can't. Like when he used for his birthday party, he really wanted to do a Nerf party. I'm like, no. But then I'm like, okay, you can, but then you do it in the backyard. Don't leave the front yard. Then one year they went to go, him and his friends, they went to go as Fortnite characters. And include getting a little BS, a little flak vest, and the Nerf gun with the big ass orange tip. But we know that there are some times that things are painted orange, but they're not really it.
Yeah, that's true.
So do you say, no, you can't participate? Or I let you participate, but I am right next to you at all times. And I went as a inflatable Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Awesome. Good choice.
So, but all his other friends were fine.
Right.
But as that parental fear, because this is what, again, that loop is always going. This is what I've always got to process. Someone sees my kid getting off the bus. Oh, he doesn't live here. The fuck he don't live there. I'm sorry, he does.
Right. Yeah.
But he's angry. He understands, but he's angry that he has to understand. He's angry that I've had to put him through that. He's angry that I have to have these talks with him. He's angry. Like one time, I have these Crocs. You'll see me wear them into work. These Barney Crocs with the big yellow toes and everything. And one time I was driving and the friggin' toe got stuck under the friggin' pedal on 288. Fuck. Yeah. I love you. No, you don't. I get on that damn gas pedal. And I finally got my toe, big Barney toe, unstuck. But by then, my car was up to 82. And I saw the blue and gray come out. And before he could cut lights on, I had pulled my car over, make sure he had room off to the side, told my son, roll down your windows, put your hands outside. Car's in park. And he rolled up to the car. And you know what? Yes, sir. Look at my Crocs. I've got this big Barney toe. It was stuck under there. And he ran my information. Okay. And then he came back because I wasn't confrontational. He came back. He was angry. He says, "Would you always teach your son to put your hands out there?" And I said, "Yes." I said, because one of the things for law enforcement officers is watching the hands. If you can see my hands,
Right.
I'm not a threat to you. That means I can't even put my car and drive and go anywhere.
Right.
And you're mad at me because I quickly rolled down all 4 windows of my car.
Right.
I had no one in the back seat. My kid's in the front seat with a seatbelt on. And you're mad at me because I have my kid put his hands outside the window. Please make it make sense.
Hmm.
Yeah. And fuck bum Barney Crocs, by the way, too. But whatever.
Yeah. I mean, I love you, but Barney Crocs. Yeah.
Look, got Barney Crocs, and also I do have the bodega in the office. I do have a sign that says bodega, so somebody got me a sign, and I do have the little furry cat sleeping on the bread in my little cubicle. So just saying.
I saw that and I really didn't understand what that was.
But the bodega,
I don't know that I wanted to know.
everything from New York is the corner store is a bodega.
Brooklyn is a culture unto itself.
It is. But not supposed to only that Brooklyn, man, all the boroughs.
A bodega.
It's a bodega. It's a corner store. But
Why don't
everything
just
you
call
want
it a
from the
corner
corner store. Nah, it's not. But it's more than a corner store.
Because it's north. It's up north. They just roll with it.
Yeah, just go ahead.
North.
But
What
bodega,
the world?
But still. But I do things a little differently. Again, it's not so much my own drum. It's my own band, drum major, all that's just going on there.
All right.
Yeah.
Definitely to the beat of a different drummer.
Facts.
If there's even a drummer.
Dude, there's a drum, there's a synthesizer in there, there's some timpani drums off in the background, there's a glockenspiel going.
Oh my gosh.
It's probably like 4 different types of drums in there.
Yeah. And all the tabs are open, they're all playing different music. So yeah.
That explains a lot.
Yeah. Consistent. Just saying.
Completely different conversation. What? Well, I got to say, I appreciate the perspective.
Yeah, absolutely.
Glad to help.
I'm glad we were able to do that.
What did we not cover? I feel like we've covered a lot of ground.
I'm anxious to replay this and listen to it when I go through the editing and rehash it kind of all over again. But, I mean, I gotta say that we came with that there is a definite, as you say, conundrum, and there's just no real easy fix for it.
Nope.
And I don't know that it ever truly will be 100%.
And you want an easy fix? That means you've dumbed down. You've made anything old stupidity.
Well, I think you're always going to have folks that are going to have perceptions in their head.
And you're always going to have something to say. You can do the best job ever. Or you could be the first one doing this job.
Mm-hmm.
And someone who doesn't know shit from Shinola is going to have something to say.
Yeah.
Well, it's 2024 and people...
But I do think we have made some progress where instead of seeing the majority of the profession having negative perceptions in the wrong places, that you're seeing that now being fewer. You know, I think there was
just not as vocal because now you speak out, now you get slapped. That's a whole nother topic, dude. A whole nother topic.
Well, and that could be not as vocal, but I still think, again, I think if you look at policing way back when, you know, you look at policing 50s and 60s.
Yeah.
I don't think that it's near.
No, 50s and 60s.
No, but again,
we had the German Shepherds and the border holster.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that is absolutely just.
But again, the kids that are starting the academy right now, you know, at the minimum age of 21.
Right.
God bless.
Exactly. that generation just doesn't think about it.
I don't think they no. I don't think they do either. I think
preoccupies them that.
I think for a small again, I think there's always going to be some that do. There's always going to be those with just ill thought. It's just.
But you remember, this is a generation that's been coddled. They want to cancel Eminem
For all their faults. For I mean, there's
look.
I'm not.
Just
we're not
because
trying to
I
say,
said that
no.
doesn't mean I'm letting them off the hook.
I'm just saying. It's just okay.
We're not saying that they're faultless with all their faults.
I gave them a win. Okay, I gave them a win on that one point. There's about 150 other things that I can go to their asses about.
Right. I think they having that division mindset is not
right
programmed in them.
But you got to remember, they grew up in front of a screen.
Yeah.
Ugh, I know.
They grew up in a screen. They grew up locked away in a house. For the years we were all shut down with the pandemic and everything else. So.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a redeeming quality that I give them. They could show up to an academy and have a very wide, diverse group of people, and to them that's normal.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah,
they're not. It's not a surprise. It's not. Oh man, we got 8 females in this. It's not as much as a surprise as it would be for like my academy or even like my dad's academy.
Okay.
I don't think that having that big, diverse group is just doesn't look odd to them or doesn't stand out as it would 30 years ago.
No, that's that. I'm with Denny on that. I agree. But like the screen issue, you go, okay, we're going to do a scenario where you have to talk to this crazy person, and they can't. Yeah.
Nope.
Use your words.
Can I send them a text?
Do I have his phone number to send a text? Yeah.
Yeah. That's when it goes completely fucking off the rails.
Right. Yeah, we're not saying that that's a great. that was a redeeming quality of them.
Skibbity bye.
All the other faults.
Skibbity Riz, I think.
Yes. Yeah. Skibbity Ohio Riz.
There's an Ohio Riz.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Okay. Skibbity toilet too.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well, definitely, I think very thought-provoking conversation.
I think so. I think we got a whole lot of things to talk and discuss about. So I think it's pretty cool.
I think we probably need to have these conversations more because we need to continue to provoke that thought.
And I would like to invite you back sometime, keep us honest.
Will there be valet parking?
No, you got to park your own shit around here.
Wait till February.
Alrighty.
Yeah, I guess then I got to park your car in February, I guess. So.
But definitely come back.
We'll schedule you for March 1st.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean you're not far away at all. So,
no. But thank you, Will, for having us. It's really cool. Thank you.
Yeah, awesome. It's awesome to have you. I'm glad we got to do this.
Thanks.
Thanks, Trish.
We will talk soon.
Absolutely.
See ya.
Yeah.
Al, I'm glad we got to have Trish on.
Yeah, that was good. That was different and
definitely
good conversation. Very good.
Yeah, I mean, I like when we can have something that's really thought-provoking that gives a complete different perspective of things from what we have.
Yeah, and I think it's something we got to talk about. It's a perspective that we got to have.
Yes.
And Trish. I mean, Trish is a grizzled veteran. I mean,
she is, and she calls it like she sees it.
Mm-hmm.
So she's not going to water it down. If there's something that's bullshit, she'll call it out.
Yep.
So, it's good to have that perspective. But she's got a total different perspective. I mean, we all have done the same career, same job, and been to the same scenes and stuff. But working in that job, she has a total different view.
Right.
A total different lens, if you will.
And it's obviously it's not ours.
Right.
So, and it's probably not a lot of our listeners either.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's something that we all need to think about.
Oh, agreed. No doubt.
So seriously, anytime she wants to come back and chat, I think we should get her back.
Yeah. I mean, when she's local, but yeah, I think it's always a fun conversation, interesting conversation.
Well, if we ever do our what we're currently calling like the uncensored thing that we've been knocking around.
Yeah. Yeah, that definite fit for that.
Yeah, new season, new ideas. The wheels are spinning.
I like it. But how that wraps up.
I believe that it does.
The episode.
Until next time.
But where can they find us?
They can find us at badgetothebone.com. They can also find us on Facebook at Badge to the Bone.
Also, make sure to email us. Let us know what you think about the show. Maybe you want to be a guest. But send us an email. We are badgetothebone@gmail.com. But until then, be safe.
And be well.